Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Discovery and watched the stars through the main screen. The year was 2387 and humanity had finally done it. They had built a ship that could travel faster than light, and Jake was the lucky one chosen to command it. The Discovery was not the biggest ship ever built, but it was the first to leave the solar system with humans inside. Jake looked at his crew and felt proud. Dr. Lisa Chung sat at her science station reading data about the space around them. She was the best scientist Earth had ever sent to space, and Jake trusted her completely. Chief Engineer Rick Carter worked at his controls, making sure the ship ran perfectly. Rick could fix anything and make it work better than before. Navigator Amy Rodriguez calculated their path through space with perfect accuracy. She never made mistakes with numbers or directions. The mission was simple. They would visit the Proxima Centauri system and see what was there. Earth wanted to know if humans could find new homes among the stars. The Discovery carried everything they needed to study planets and maybe even find life. Jake hoped they would discover something amazing to bring back to Earth. Amy looked up from her station and spoke to Jake. Captain, we are approaching the Proxima Centauri system now. All systems are working normally, and we should arrive in 30 minutes. Jake nodded and told the crew to prepare for arrival. Everyone moved with purpose and efficiency. This was the moment they had all trained for. The Discovery dropped out of faster-than-light travel and entered normal space near Proxima Centauri. The main screen showed the red dwarf star and its planets. Dr. Chun immediately began scanning everything she could see. Her instruments picked up rocks and ice and gas, but nothing that looked like life. Then her equipment detected something else. Captain, I am reading artificial signals from the third planet, Dr. Chun said with excitement in her voice. The patterns are too regular to be natural. Something made them. Jake felt his heart beat faster. They had found proof that humans were not alone in the universe. But before he could respond, Amy spoke from her station. Captain, we have multiple ships approaching our position, Amy said with worry in her voice. They are moving very fast and will reach us in 10 minutes. Jake ordered the crew to battle stations even though the Discovery was not built for fighting. They only had basic shields and no weapons worth mentioning. The alien ships appeared on the main screen, and Jake stared at them with wonder and fear. The ships were long and thin with smooth silver surfaces that reflected the light of the star. They moved in perfect formation like a school of fish swimming through water. Jake counted 12 ships and knew that even one of them was probably more powerful than the Discovery. Rick spoke from his engineering station. Captain, their ships are giving off energy readings that are much higher than ours. Their technology is far ahead of what we have. Jake nodded but stayed calm. He had been a military officer before becoming a space captain and knew how to handle dangerous situations. The largest alien ship sent a message to the Discovery. The words came through the speakers in a voice that sounded like rocks grinding. Together, Dr. Chun worked quickly to understand the language while the alien voice repeated the same message over and over. I think I understand some of it, Captain, Dr. Chun said after several minutes. They are demanding that we surrender immediately. They want us to shut down our engines and prepare to be boarded. Jake looked at his crew and saw determination in their eyes instead of fear. Humans had not come this far to give up at the first sign of trouble. The alien voice spoke again, and this time Dr. Chun translated immediately. They say they are the Zephyrian Empire and that we must submit to their authority. They claim this space belongs to them and that we are trespassing. They give us 5 minutes to surrender or they will destroy us. Jake thought quickly about his options. The Discovery could not fight 12 advanced alien warships and win. They could try to run, but the alien ships were faster. Surrender meant capture and probably slavery or death. Jake made his decision and spoke to his crew. We came here to explore and learn, Jake said calmly. We will not surrender to threats or abandon our mission. Dr. Chun, keep trying to communicate with them. Amy, plot a course through that asteroid field near the 4th planet. Rick, give me everything you can from the engines. The crew responded immediately and began working. The alien commander seemed surprised that the humans had not surrendered. He had conquered many species before, and they always gave up when faced with superior force. These humans were different, and he did not understand why they remained calm when facing certain destruction. Commander Vextal stood on the bridge of his flagship and watched the strange alien vessel through his viewing screen. In all his years of conquest, he had never seen a species react this way to overwhelming force. The small ship should have surrendered immediately when faced with 12 Zephyrian warships. Instead, the aliens seemed to be preparing for some kind of action. Vextal decided to demonstrate Zephyrian power to these foolish creatures. He ordered his weapons officer to fire a warning shot at a nearby asteroid. The plasma beam struck the floating rock and turned it into glowing dust in seconds. The display of destruction should have terrified any intelligent species into immediate submission. On the Discovery, Jake watched the asteroid disappear and felt his crew tense around him. The alien weapon was far more powerful than anything humans had ever built. One shot from that plasma beam would turn their ship into vapor. But instead of panic, Jake saw his crew working harder and faster than before. Dr. June continued analyzing the alien communications while simultaneously trying to understand their technology from sensor readings. Rick Carter studied the energy patterns from the alien weapons and began making calculations about their shield systems. Amy Rodriguez plotted 17 different escape routes through the asteroid field and selected the most difficult one that would challenge even the best pilots. Captain, the aliens are demanding an immediate response, Dr. Chun reported while her fingers danced across her control panel. They want us to shut down all systems and prepare for boarding. Commander Vextal says this is our final warning. Jake nodded and opened a communication channel to the alien ships. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth ship Discovery, Jake said in a steady voice. We are peaceful explorers from the planet Earth. We mean no harm to your empire, but we will not surrender our ship or our freedom. We request safe passage through this system so we can return to our home. Commander Vextal listened to the alien response with growing confusion. The creature spoke with complete confidence despite facing impossible odds. Vextal had destroyed entire civilizations, and their leaders always begged for mercy at this point. These humans showed no fear and made demands instead of pleading for their lives. Target their engines and disable their ship, Vextal ordered his weapons officer. We will take them alive and learn what makes them so foolishly brave. The Zephyrian ships moved into attack formation and prepared to fire their weapons. Amy Rodriguez saw the alien ships changing position and immediately activated her escape plan. Captain, we need to move now, she said while her hands flew over her navigation controls, entering the asteroid field in 30 seconds. The Discovery suddenly accelerated toward the floating rocks at maximum speed. The Zephyrian weapons officer fired at where the human ship had been but hit empty space instead. The Discovery was already weaving between asteroids at a speed that should have been impossible for such a small vessel. Commander Vextal stared at his screen in disbelief as the human ship performed maneuvers that would challenge his best pilots. Rick Carter rerouted power from non-essential systems to the engines and shields while monitoring the alien pursuit. Captain, their ships are faster than ours, but they cannot follow us through the dense part of the asteroid field, he reported. Their ships are too big and move too slowly to navigate the narrow spaces. Dr. Chun made a breakthrough with the alien language and began intercepting their communications. She listened to the Zephyrian pilots talking to each other and translated their words for Jake. Captain, they are confused about our flying ability. They say no species has ever navigated an asteroid field this successfully on their first attempt. The Discovery twisted and turned through the floating rocks while the Zephyrian ships struggled to follow. Amy Rodriguez used every trick she knew to stay ahead of their pursuers. She flew through gaps that seemed too small for their ship and made turns that should have been impossible. The alien pilots tried to copy her moves but crashed into asteroids or fell behind. Commander Vextal watched 3 of his ships suffer damage from asteroid impacts while trying to follow the human vessel. His pilots were among the best in the Zephyrian military, but they could not match the performance of this unknown species. The humans flew their ship like they had been born in space. How are they doing this? Vextal demanded from his navigation officer. They have never been in space before today, but they fly better than pilots with decades of experience. His officer had no answer, and could only watch as the human ship continued to outmaneuver their entire squadron. Jake felt the ship shake as they scraped past a large asteroid, but Amy kept them moving through the field. Chief Tactical Officer Sam Butler had joined them on the bridge and was studying the alien ship movements. "Captain, I think I understand their tactics," Sam said while pointing at his screen. "They use predictable attack patterns and rely on superior firepower to win battles." Dr. Chun continued monitoring alien communications and discovered something important. "Captain, the Zephyrians are becoming frustrated and afraid. They have never encountered a species that could evade them like this. Commander Vextal is requesting reinforcements from his superiors." Rick Carter made another discovery while analyzing the alien energy signatures. "Captain, I think I can adapt some of their shield technology to our systems. It will take time, but I might be able to give us better protection." Jake approved the attempt and told Rick to work as fast as possible. The Discovery emerged from the thickest part of the asteroid field, with all Zephyrian ships still in pursuit, but now at a greater distance. Amy had bought them valuable time, but the aliens would eventually catch up. Jake knew they needed to keep learning and adapting if they wanted to survive long enough to warn Earth about this new threat. Commander Vextal regrouped his squadron and prepared for another attack. But he felt something he had never experienced before in all his years of conquest. These humans had made him doubt his own superiority, and that thought terrified him more than any enemy weapon ever could. 2 days had passed since the first encounter, and the Discovery remained hidden in the asteroid field while Rick Carter worked on understanding Zephyrian technology. The engineering bay had become a maze of cables and modified equipment as Rick attempted to reverse engineer alien shield systems from sensor data alone. Darshan had made remarkable progress with the Zephyrian language and was now intercepting most of their communications. She listened to the alien crews talking among themselves and discovered that the humans were causing panic throughout their ranks. The Zephyrians had never encountered a species that could adapt so quickly to their technology and tactics. "Captain, I am hearing very interesting conversations," Dr. Chun reported to Jake on the bridge. "The Zephyrian crews are afraid of us. They keep saying that humans do things that should be impossible. Commander Vextal has told his superiors that we possess unknown abilities that make us extremely dangerous." Jake found this information both encouraging and troubling. The Zephyrians clearly respected human capabilities now, but that also meant they would probably send more ships to destroy the Discovery. Jake needed to keep his crew alive long enough to warn Earth about the threat while learning everything possible about their enemies. Amy Rodriguez had been studying Zephyrian ship movements and discovered patterns in their tactics. "Captain, they always attack in the same formations and use the same strategies," she explained while showing Jake her analysis. "They have standard procedures for every situation, but they cannot adapt when something unexpected happens." Chief Tactical Officer Sam Butler had been working with Amy to understand Zephyrian weaknesses. "Captain, their ships are powerful, but they depend too much on their technology," Sam said. "When we do something they did not expect, they become confused and make mistakes. We can use that against them." Rick Carter called Jake to the engineering bay to show him the results of his work. The normally neat and organized space looked like a disaster zone with equipment scattered everywhere. But Rick smiled proudly as he pointed to a shimmering energy field surrounding a small test device. "Captain, I did it," Rick said with excitement. "I managed to create a basic version of their shield technology using our equipment. It is not as powerful as theirs, but it works. I can install it on our ship in about 6 hours." Jake congratulated Rick on his achievement and authorized the installation. Immediately, Darshan made another discovery while monitoring alien communications. The Zephyrians were changing their language codes and communication protocols because they realized humans could understand them. But Dr. Chun adapted to each change within hours and continued intercepting their messages. Captain, they are trying to hide their communications from us, but I keep breaking their new codes, Dr. Chun explained. They cannot understand how we learn their language so quickly. One of their officers said that humans process information differently than any species they have encountered before. Commander Vextel received new orders from Zephyrian High Command and felt relieved that his superiors were finally taking the human threat seriously. A battle group of 12 additional ships was being sent to destroy the Discovery and eliminate the dangerous aliens once and for all. But Vextile worried that even 24 ships might not be enough. The Zephyrian commander had been studying human behavior for 2 days, and everything he observed contradicted his understanding of how intelligent species should act. When faced with superior force, most creatures either surrendered or fled. Humans did neither. Instead, they studied their enemies and found ways to turn disadvantages into advantages. Rick finished installing the modified shield system and activated it for the first time. The Discovery was now surrounded by an energy barrier that could absorb moderate damage from Zephyrian weapons. The shield was not perfect, but it would give them a fighting chance if they were forced into battle. Dr. Chun intercepted a priority message from the approaching Zephyrian reinforcements and translated it immediately. Captain Admiral Vexmore is coming with 12 more ships. He is the most successful military commander in Zephyrian history. The message says he will destroy us completely and end what they call the human problem. Jake gathered his senior officers for a strategy meeting in the ship's conference room. The small group sat around the table while Jake explained their situation. They were outnumbered 24-1 by ships with superior technology and firepower. Most military experts would consider their position hopeless. "We cannot run from 24 ships," Jake said calmly. "We cannot hide from their sensors forever. We cannot fight them with conventional tactics and win. But we can do what humans do best. We can adapt and find a way to survive that they will never expect." Amy presented her analysis of Zephyrian tactics and ship movements. Sam Butler explained the weaknesses they had identified in alien formations and strategies. Rick Carter described the improvements he could make to their weapons and shields with more time. Dr. Chun revealed everything she had learned about Zephyrian psychology and behavior. The plan they developed was risky and required perfect timing and execution, but it played to human strengths while exploiting Zephyrian weaknesses. Jake looked at his officers and saw confidence instead of fear. They understood that they were about to attempt something that would seem impossible to any other species in the galaxy. "We are not just fighting for our lives," Jake told his crew over the ship's communication system. "We are fighting to prove that humans deserve a place among the stars. We will show these aliens that Earth's children do not surrender to threats or bow to superior force. We will show them what humans can accomplish when we refuse to accept defeat." The crew responded with determination and began preparing for the arrival of Admiral Vexmore and his battle group. Rick Carter worked on weapon modifications while Amy Rodriguez calculated attack vectors through the asteroid field. Dr. Chun continued monitoring alien communications, and Sam Butler refined their tactical plans. Commander Vextel felt a chill run through his scaled body as he watched the human ship on his sensors. The Discovery should have been destroyed days ago, but instead it had grown stronger and more dangerous. Vextel realized that the humans were not just surviving their encounter with the Zephyrian Empire. They were learning from it and becoming something that terrified him to contemplate. Admiral Vexmore arrived in the Proxima Centauri system expecting to find Commander Vextel in disgrace and the alien ship destroyed. Instead, his sensors detected the Discovery not only intact but somehow enhanced with technology that should not exist. The small vessel was emitting energy signatures that combined human and Zephyrian characteristics in ways that seemed impossible. Vexmore had conquered more star systems than any other Zephyrian commander in history. He had destroyed civilizations that had existed for millions of years and reduced their planets to ash and rubble. No single ship had ever survived an encounter with his battle group. These humans would learn why the galaxy feared the name Vexmore. "Commander Vextel, report to my flagship immediately," Vexmore ordered through the communication system. When Vextal arrived. Exmore could see fear in the younger officer's eyes. This concerned the Admiral because Vextal was one of his best commanders and had never shown fear before. "Admiral, the humans are not like any species we have encountered," Vextal explained while his voice trembled slightly. "They adapt to our technology and tactics faster than should be possible. They learn from every attack and become stronger with each encounter. I recommend that we withdraw and request additional reinforcements." Exmore stared at Vextal with disgust and anger. "You have allowed one primitive ship to terrify you into cowardice," the Admiral said coldly. "I will show you how to deal with inferior species. We will destroy them with overwhelming force and end this embarrassment to the Zephyrian military." On the Discovery, Jake watched 24 alien warships move into attack formation around their position. The enemy fleet represented enough firepower to destroy entire planets, and they were all focused on his single small ship. But Jake felt calm as he looked at his crew preparing for battle. Rick Carter had worked day and night to modify their weapons and shields using reverse-engineered Zephyrian technology. The Discovery now carried hybrid systems that combined human innovation with alien power sources. Their ship was still outgunned, but it was no longer defenseless. Dr. Shun monitored alien communications and provided real-time translation of enemy plans and movements. Captain Admiral Exmore is ordering all ships to fire simultaneously. He wants to destroy us completely with one coordinated attack. Jake nodded and activated the battle plan they had developed. Amy Rodriguez engaged the navigation system and began moving the Discovery through a complex pattern between the asteroids. Her flying was even more precise than before because she had studied Zephyrian tactics and knew exactly how they would respond to each movement. The 24 Zephyrian ships fired their weapons at the same moment and filled space with deadly energy beams. The coordinated attack should have vaporized any target instantly. But the Discovery was no longer where their targeting computers expected it to be. Amy had predicted the exact timing and targeting of the alien attack and moved their ship to a position that seemed impossible to reach. The Discovery appeared to teleport from one location to another while the alien weapons struck empty space and nearby asteroids. Admiral Exmore stared at his tactical display in shock as the human ship evaded an attack that had never failed before. "How did they know where we would aim?" he demanded from his weapons officer. "Our targeting was perfect, and they moved at exactly the right moment to avoid all our shots." Sam Butler activated the Discovery's modified weapons and began targeting the Zephyrian ships with precision that surprised even Jake. Instead of trying to destroy the heavily armored alien vessels, Sam aimed for specific systems that Rick had identified as vulnerable points. The first Zephyrian ship lost its shields when the Discovery's weapons struck a critical power relay that Rick had located through sensor analysis. The second ship suffered engine damage when Sam targeted its fuel systems. The third ship lost its weapons when its power distribution network was severed by carefully aimed shots. "Impossible," Admiral Exmore whispered as he watched his ship suffer damage from weapons that should have been too weak to penetrate their defenses. "How do they know exactly where to aim? How do they target our weak points so precisely?" Dr. Chung intercepted frantic communications between Zephyrian ships as their crews tried to understand what was happening. "Captain, they are panicking," she reported with satisfaction. "Their tactical officers cannot explain how we are defeating their superior technology. Admiral Exmore is demanding answers that his crews cannot provide." The battle continued with the Discovery dancing between asteroids while systematically disabling Zephyrian ships one by one. Amy's flying became more aggressive as she learned enemy movement patterns in real time. Rick's weapons became more accurate as his targeting computers adapted to alien ship designs. Commander Vextal watched the impossible battle from his bridge and felt vindicated about his earlier warnings. The humans were not just surviving against impossible odds. They were winning against the most powerful fleet in Zephyrian space using tactics that defied all military logic. "Admiral, we must withdraw," Vextal transmitted to the Exmore's flagship. "The humans are destroying our ships faster than we can respond to their attacks." They are using our own tactical principles against us and turning our strengths into weaknesses. Admiral Lexmore refused to accept defeat against a single primitive ship, but he could not deny the evidence of his sensors. 8 of his vessels were already disabled or destroyed, while the human ship continued to grow stronger and more dangerous with each passing moment. Jake felt his crew working in perfect harmony as they fought for their lives against overwhelming odds. Every officer performed their duties with skill and determination that would have impressed the finest military units in human history. They were not just fighting aliens. They were proving that humans deserved their place among the stars. "Captain, we are receiving a transmission from Admiral Lexmore," Dr. Chun reported as alien communications flooded their receivers. "He is demanding to know what kind of creatures we are and how we learned to fight like this." Jake opened a channel to the Zephyrian flagship and spoke directly to the alien commander. "We are humans from Earth, and we fight to protect our freedom. We did not choose this battle, but we will not surrender to those who threaten us. You came here to destroy us, but you have only taught us that we are stronger than we knew." Admiral Lexmore listened to the human voice and felt something he had never experienced in all his years of conquest. Fear, not fear of death or defeat, but fear of what these creatures might become if they were allowed to survive and grow. Admiral Lexmore transmitted an emergency message to Zephyrian High Command as his remaining ships retreated from the Proxima Centauri system. The message contained sensor data from the battle and a single recommendation that shocked the entire Zephyrian leadership. Lexmore advised immediate withdrawal from human space and warned that humanity represented a threat unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. News of the Zephyrian defeat spread through galactic communication networks within hours. The story seemed impossible to believe. A single ship from a primitive species had destroyed 8 advanced Zephyrian warships and forced the retreat of their most successful admiral. Other galactic powers initially dismissed the reports as Zephyrian propaganda or exaggeration. The crystalline hegemony controlled a vast territory near the galactic core and had existed for over 10 million years. Their crystal-based technology was among the most advanced in known space. Hegemon Prime received the Zephyrian warning with amusement and decided to investigate these humans personally. If they possessed valuable technology, it should belong to a superior civilization like the hegemony the Void Syndicate operated from the dark spaces between star systems and specialized in advanced stealth and infiltration technology. They had remained hidden from other galactic powers for thousands of years while building their strength. Syndicate leaders saw opportunity in the chaos surrounding humanity and began planning their own expedition to Earth. The ancient Assembly represented the oldest known civilizations in the galaxy, including species that had achieved interstellar travel before Earth-Sun was born. Assembly members viewed themselves as the natural rulers of all younger species. They decided that humanity needed to be educated about their proper place in the galactic hierarchy. Jake Morrison guided the Discovery back toward Earth, carrying the most important information in human history. His crew had proven that humans could survive against impossible odds, but they had also painted a target on their entire species. Every major power in the galaxy now knew that humanity existed and possessed capabilities that threatened the established order. Dr. Chun spent the journey home analyzing all the data they had collected about alien technology and psychology. Her discoveries were disturbing and fascinating in equal measure. Every species they had encountered seemed limited in ways that humans were not. The aliens had reached technological peaks and stopped growing while humans continued to adapt and improve. "Captain, I think I understand why the aliens fear us so much," Dr. Chun explained during a briefing in the ship's conference room. "Every galactic civilization follows predictable patterns of development. They advance to a certain level and then maintain that level for millions of years. We are the first species they have met that never stops evolving." Rick Carter had reverse-engineered enough alien technology to advance human science by centuries. The Discovery now carried shield systems, weapons, and sensors that were far beyond anything Earth had produced before. But Rick knew that this was only the beginning. Human engineers could improve on alien designs in ways the original creators never imagined. Amy Rodriguez calculated that multiple alien fleets were already heading toward Earth based on intercepted communications. The various galactic powers had apparently decided that humanity needed to be eliminated before they became too dangerous to stop. Earth had maybe 3 weeks before the first invasion forces arrived. Jake contacted Earth as soon as the Discovery entered the solar system and transmitted everything they had learned about the galactic threat. The information caused panic among world governments as they realized that humanity faced extinction from enemies they had never known existed. Admiral Patricia Hayes was appointed to command Earth's hastily organized defense forces. She was a brilliant military strategist who had studied every conflict in human history. But she had never faced an enemy with technology thousands of years more advanced than her own. Patricia reviewed the Discovery's sensor logs and began developing strategies based on what Jake's crew had learned about alien psychology and tactics. The galactic powers expected humans to either surrender immediately or fight using conventional military doctrine. Patricia planned to give them something completely different. Earth's shipyards worked around the clock to build humanity's first true space navy using technology reverse-engineered from Zephyrian systems. The ships were crude compared to alien vessels, but they incorporated human innovations that no other species had ever attempted. Dr. Chun established communication with Earth's top scientists and began sharing everything she had learned about galactic civilizations. The information revealed that humanity was unique in ways that made them extremely dangerous to the established order. Humans possessed what she called evolutionary flexibility that other species had lost millions of years ago. We adapt faster than any other known species. Dr. Cheon explained to the assembled Earth leadership during an emergency conference. While other civilizations reach technological plateaus and stop advancing, we continue to grow and change. Given enough time, we will surpass every power in the galaxy, and they know it. The first alien scouts entered the solar system 3 days before the main invasion fleets were scheduled to arrive. They expected to find a primitive civilization with basic space technology. Instead, they discovered humans building warships using hybrid technology that combined alien systems with human innovations. Crystalline hegemony scouts reported that human defensive preparations showed impossible technological advancement. The primitives had somehow acquired and improved upon Zephyrian military systems in less than a month. Hegemon Prime ordered an immediate invasion before humans could develop even more dangerous capabilities. Void Syndicate infiltrators attempted to gather intelligence about human psychology and military doctrine. They discovered that humans possessed something their species had never encountered: individual creativity and initiative that allowed them to solve problems in ways that defied prediction. Every human seemed capable of independent thought and action. Ancient Assembly observers studied human behavior and reached disturbing conclusions. These young creatures showed none of the limitations that defined mature galactic civilizations. They refused to accept that anything was impossible and kept finding new ways to overcome every obstacle they encountered. Jake Morrison was promoted to admiral and given command of the experimental ship UES Defiance. The vessel incorporated everything humans had learned about alien technology while adding improvements that no other species had ever conceived. It represented humanity's determination to fight for their survival against impossible odds. Patricia Hayes addressed the United Earth Defense Council as reports arrived about the approaching alien armadas. Thousands of ships from multiple galactic powers were converging on Earth with the single goal of eliminating humanity before they could threaten galactic stability. They come here because they fear what we might become, Patricia told the assembled leaders. They have ruled the galaxy for millions of years without challenge, and now they face a species that refuses to accept limitations. We will show them that humans do not surrender our freedom to anyone. The alien invasion fleets dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system and began their approach toward Earth, but as they advanced they realized that something was wrong. The humans were not fleeing in terror or begging for mercy. Instead, they were moving to meet the invasion with a determination that defied all logic and previous experience. The combined galactic fleet assembled at the edge of Earth's solar system represented the largest military force ever gathered in known history. Over 3,000 ships from 12 different species had united with a single purpose. They would eliminate humanity before this dangerous young species could threaten the stability of galactic civilization. Hegemon, prime of the crystalline hegemony, commanded the invasion force from his massive flagship. The crystal being had existed for over 50,000 years and had never encountered a species that posed a real threat to established galactic order. These humans would learn their proper place or face complete extinction. Admiral Patricia Hayes stood on the bridge of the command station orbiting Earth and watched the alien armada approach. Humanity could deploy only 200 ships against the massive invasion force, but Patricia felt confident about their chances. The aliens still did not understand what they were really fighting. Jake Morrison commanded the UES Defiance as part of the advanced guard that would meet the alien fleet first. His ship carried the most advanced technology humanity had ever produced, including weapons and shields that incorporated innovations from 3 different alien civilizations. More importantly, it carried a crew that refused to accept defeat. The battle began when the alien fleet entered the outer solar system and encountered humanity's forward defensive positions. The galactic commanders expected quick victory against the primitive human forces. Instead, they found themselves facing opponents who fought with tactics and technology that seemed to evolve during the battle itself. Lieutenant Kate Williams coordinated the orbital defense platforms around Earth, while Captain Jake Parker led the experimental fighter squadrons into combat. Each human unit operated with independence and creativity that confused alien commanders who expected predictable military responses. The crystalline hegemony ships attacked first, using energy weapons that could destroy entire moons. But the human ships did not try to absorb the massive firepower. Instead, they used speed and unpredictability to avoid the attacks while targeting the alien vessels with pinpoint accuracy. Dr. Chun had established a communication network that allowed all human forces to share information instantly. Every discovery about alien weaknesses was transmitted to every ship within seconds. The human fleet learned and adapted as a single organism while maintaining individual unit flexibility. Rick Carter had equipped human ships with modular technology that could be reconfigured during battle. When alien tactics changed, the human vessels modified their systems to counter new threats. The aliens watched in horror as human ships became more dangerous with each passing hour. Void Syndicate stealth ships attempted to infiltrate human formations using invisibility technology that had never failed before. But human sensors had been designed to detect impossible things, and the invisible alien ships were discovered and destroyed by opponents who should not have been able to find them. Ancient assembly vessels tried to use their superior experience and ancient wisdom to outmaneuver the human fleet. But their commanders had been fighting the same way for millions of years, while humans invented new tactics during the battle. Experience meant nothing when facing opponents who refused to follow established rules. The turning point came when Jake Morrison led a squadron of human ships directly into the center of the alien formation. The move should have been suicide, but the human vessels used alien technology in ways the original designers had never imagined. They turned Zephyrion shields into weapons and crystalline energy systems into defensive barriers. Hegemon Prime watched his flagship sensors as human ships systematically dismantled the invasion fleet using the aliens' own technology against them. These creatures were not just adapting to superior force. They were improving upon it and making it serve their purposes. What are these beings? The hegemon demanded from his science officers. How do they learn so quickly? How do they use our technology better than we do? His officers had no answers because they had never encountered anything like humanity before. Admiral Patricia Hayes coordinated the human defense from Earth orbit while monitoring communications from the alien fleet. The enemy commanders were becoming desperate and afraid as they realized their overwhelming advantage was disappearing. Some alien ships began attempting to retreat, but human forces pursued them relentlessly. The final phase of the battle saw human ships hunting down the scattered remnants of the once mighty Galactic Armada. Jake Morrison's crew had learned to pilot their vessel with skill that surpassed the best alien pilots in the galaxy. They moved through space like it was their natural environment. Dr. Chun intercepted the final communications between alien commanders, as they admitted complete defeat. "They are saying that humans are not just another species," she reported to Patricia. "They call us something that translates as the creatures who break all limitations. They fear that we will eventually rule the entire galaxy." The battle ended with less than 300 alien ships escaping the solar system out of the original 3,000. The survivors carried a message back to their homeworlds that would change galactic politics forever. Humanity had not just survived the combined assault of 12 major powers. They had won decisively and proven themselves the dominant military force in known space. Jake Morrison returned to Earth as the hero who had led humanity's greatest victory, but he knew the war was far from over. The galaxy had seen what humans could accomplish when threatened, and they would never again underestimate Earth's capabilities. Future conflicts would be even more dangerous as alien powers developed new strategies to contain humanity. Admiral Patricia Hayes addressed the world's population in a broadcast that was transmitted throughout the solar system. "Today we proved that humans deserve our place among the stars," she said with pride and determination. "We showed the galaxy that Earth's children do not bow to threats or surrender our freedom to superior force." Dr. Chen published her analysis of the battle and its implications for humanity's future. The galactic powers had revealed their greatest weakness during the invasion. They had become so dependent on technological superiority that they had forgotten how to adapt and innovate. Humans possessed something they had lost millions of years ago. "We never stopped growing and changing," Dr. Chun wrote in her report. "Every challenge makes us stronger, and every obstacle teaches us something new. The aliens fear us because they know that given enough time we will surpass them all. They were right to be afraid." The alien survivors who escaped the solar system carried news of humanity's victory back to their homeworlds. The reports caused panic throughout galactic civilization, as species that had ruled for millions of years realized their time of dominance was ending. A new power had emerged that could not be stopped or contained. Jake Morrison stood on the observation deck of the UES Defiance and looked out at the stars surrounding Earth. Humanity had won the first battle for their survival, but the real war was just beginning. The galaxy would never again be the same because humans had proven something that terrified every established civilization. They had shown that evolution and growth never had to stop, and that any limitation could be overcome with enough determination and creativity.